Paul Krugman. I'm professor of economics and international affairs at Princeton and op-ed columnist for the New York Times. Well, that was the point at which it became clear that the financial system was disrupted enough. I mean, basically all of the indicators went crazy, that low interest rates, the normal things that you do to fight a recession, were just not going to work. I mean, I thought we were headed there for a while before, but after the fall of Lehman, all of a sudden, interest rates basically went to zero, and we were stuck. Well, I mean, first of all, for the United States, the closest parallel is Japan in the 90s. And Japan, when Japan did do fiscal stimulus, it worked. It helped. So what we learned is that spending is a way at least to mitigate the effects of this slump. They didn't really start to turn things around until they did a really thoroughgoing bank rescue, putting a lot of capital into the banking system. So that tells you what needs to be done. So it's basically a lesson in what works and then not putting off the spending the big bucks. If they'd done in '92 what they ended up doing finally in '98, they might have had it might have been a lost 3 or 4 years, not a lost decade. Well, in '98 they said to the banks, you have to recognize your bad loans, you have to be sort of honest about where you are, and in return they put in about $500 billion, which, considering their economy was only about the quarter of the size of, in dollar terms, of what ours is now, is equivalent of a $2 trillion bank capital injection. And at that point, things loosened up some. So it was along the lines of what we're doing now, but much bigger. Well, I think anyone who's trying to, understand what's going on out there needs to read it. Anyone who wants to think about policy, because part of the moral here is that we're in a different universe for economic policy. The normal rules do not apply as long as depression economics prevails. I think I hope it's worth something to business people trying to figure out what they should be doing next. I think it's a fascinating story, just aside from everything else. If, there's a part, I'm horrified, I'm scared. I'm also just professionally awed and fascinated by what's going on. Every macroeconomist, which is what half of me is a macroeconomist, every macroeconomist sort of has a lingering desire to live through the great, the early stages of the Great Depression, to know what it was like, and here we are.